You know that feeling you get after being in a coma for 22 years only to wake up and find out the world's been taken over by giant man-eating bugs? Yeah, well, in the world of Blue Gender, it's just another Monday. Welcome back to an actual episode of Mecha Mondays. Now, even though Halloween was last week, I still want to review something mech-related that has an element of horror to it. And Blue Gender fits this category perfectly, with plenty of gory visuals and bloodthirsty monsters. Also, 2019 marks the show's 20th anniversary, so there's no better time to be talking about it. Let's get started. Blue Gender, at its core, is a gritty sci-fi drama about humans trying to take back Earth from an invasive species known as the Blue, which are oversized insects hell-bent on eating everyone and everything they can get their hands on. Oh, and unlike humans, the Blue are really good at saving leftover food. Anyway, the show follows Yuji Kaido, a young man from the year 2009 who was placed into a cryogenic sleep after being diagnosed with some untreatable disease. Yuji is forcefully awakened by a team of soldiers only to realize that it's now the year 2031 and the Earth he once knew has been overrun by the Blue. So, where exactly do the Blue come from? No one knows. Well, I know, but I'll save the spoilers for later in the video. What's left of mankind has evacuated to a space station called Second Earth, where they train soldiers to face the harsh new realities on the surface. And what better way to face your hardships than with mechs? The mechs in this show are called armor shrikes, and they grant the humans considerable firepower and speed. However, these mechs are small and offer little in terms of protection for their pilots, similar to the mechs in Armored Trooper Votoms and... Oh, speaking of Votoms, I should probably mention that Blue Gender was created by Ryusuke Takahashi, who created Votoms and Gasaraki as well. Anyway, the most glaring issue with the Armor Shrike is its open cockpit design. You'd think the pilots would be seated safely inside these machines, but no. In fact, I think someone actually dies in the third episode from falling rubble because their head's left exposed. Anyway, back to the story. Yuji is quickly rescued by a armor shrike pilot known as Marlene and her team of soldiers as they travel to find other people like Yuji who've been sleeping for decades on end. Eventually, they end up back in space, you get to see Second Earth, there's more mechs. I won't spoil the rest, but anyway, Blue Gender first aired on Japanese television back in 1999. It would eventually air in the US as well, appearing on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim program block in 2003. Many have considered this show to be the anime version of the movie Starship Troopers, given that it was released only 2 years later and has some obvious influences. Hell, even the Adult Swim intro makes this comparison. Aside from the obvious similarities of giant bugs and trigger-happy humans, the two share an overall theme of disposability. Each does a good job of showcasing the unforgiving circumstances their characters must deal with, but Blue Gender does this better in my opinion, since it lacks the overwhelming satire that Starship Troopers has. Without the satire and comedy, everything just looks extremely bleak in Blue Gender, almost too bleak. While not as iconic as Votoms, but certainly more entertaining than Gasaraki, I'd say Takahashi found a good balance with Blue Gender. And by balance, I mean more sex and more violence. Blue Gender starts out strong, showing us just how weak and outnumbered the human resistance actually is. Even with mechs at their disposal, they are seemingly no match for the ever-evolving Blue. So you want to know what happens? So I'm just letting you know we're in the spoiler section now, so you've been warned. It is eventually revealed that Yuji's disease is in fact not a disease at all, but rather he shares the same cellular makeup as the Blue. Because of this, he can combat the Blue much easier than a regular human. Also, the Blue are not alien invaders, but rather the offspring of Mother Nature intended to punish humanity for its toxic impact on the environment. So how does everything get resolved? You really want to know? Yuji walks up to Mother Earth and tells it to stop. But not before killing the final boss, which is actually a pretty cool fight. So yeah, that's the ending. Personally, I found it extremely underwhelming. Not the worst ending to an anime I've seen, but... Blue Gender, like I was saying earlier, just starts out so strong. It really gives you a sense of desperation and how tough things actually are. For example, episode 3, they finally find a spaceport so they can go back up to the space station, and as soon as they find it, the Blue find it and just completely demolish it. So the next 7 or 8 episodes is just survival. There's barely any mechs in it. It's up to Yuji, Marlene, and their team of soldiers. It basically becomes just Yuji and Marlene. Everyone else dies. So eventually they make it back up into space. The plot changes pace a little bit. It's more about Yuji being this super soldier. You meet some other super soldiers, including a guy named Tony Frost, who I swear is just a pun on Tony the Tiger and Frosted Flakes. Tony is a super soldier just like Yuji, but Tony goes crazy and uses his superpowers to talk to the Blue and eventually command them. So he kind of inherits Mother Nature's will to eradicate humanity, while Yuji is able to get a better grasp on this power and use it to stop Mother Nature from killing the rest of humanity. So I've got to ask, what's the point? Are humans going to just multiply again and destroy Earth and this whole cycle's going to repeat? Or is Yuji somehow going to play God and watch over humanity and make sure it stays within its limits? It's just an anime, I know. If you're looking to watch Blue Gender, it's easily available on DVD. I picked up my copy of the series for about $20 on Amazon, and it also comes with the movie compilation Blue Gender: The Warrior. So yeah, that's basically Blue Gender. Not a bad show, but definitely more to be desired. So anyway, thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.